Random thought. Do we
Hmm.
really need to see reporters out in the elements to know how dangerous it is?
I don't.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast, episode 115. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and leave a review.
115 sounds like a lot, really and
Isn't
truly.
it crazy? It felt like just yesterday when you were like, I have an idea. We should do a podcast.
And I was like, he's not going to last past 5 episodes.
Yeah, I'm like, we can give it a shot. And then,
He's like, I'm going to be done with this shit.
yeah.
And that's just the regular episodes. That's not even counting all the recaps, but that's a whole nother story, which we'll get to.
Exactly.
One thing we have discovered over the last couple of years, for those who've been through the previous 2 Christmases with us, is that you are a Grinch when it comes to Christmas. I think 2 Christmases ago you were like,
No.
I don't understand why people even decorate. It's in the middle of COVID. We're in a pandemic. Nobody can go anywhere. Why are you putting up decorations? I'm like, to get the Christmas spirit, you Grinch. And then last year you're like, why is everybody wearing red and black lumberjack? I'm like, let people take their pictures and post on Instagram with their fake families. Let them do this in peace, okay? So what are you grinching about this Christmas?
I'm not a Grinch because the Grinch doesn't want anybody to celebrate Christmas. I am somebody that Christmas is just not my favorite holiday. I'm not into it.
Okay.
I don't want to stop it from happening or, go to little, Wendy Lou's house and take her trees and toys. I don't want to do any of that. I just don't care for Christmas. But I noticed this year there was not a theme of outfit. And it's funny, last year of my rant on the red and black lumberjacks,
Yeah.
somebody bought me a pair and
Did you wear
text
them
me
this year?
like, are you going to wear this year? And I'm like, can you imagine me taking a selfie on my couch in my PJs by myself?
You and Manti Te'o's girlfriend.
Yeah, just got her. But no, I'm not Grinch on anything this Christmas. It was a
that's
piece of cake for me. I just did gift cards. And so my Christmas shopping took me all of 15 minutes. And it was amazing.
The red and black lumberjack was not the main thing this year, but I tell you what I did notice was there were a lot of people, and y'all got to stop, really and truly, stop doing it on social media for likes, terrorizing these goddamn kids, okay? Seriously. There was one where they're down in the basement, down comes Santa Claus, the kids are all excited, yay! Then comes the Grinch. The Grinch grabs Santa's bag and they start fighting. The poor kids are hiding underneath the table because they're scared out of their minds. Y'all got to stop doing this for likes, man. Stop it. Stop it.
See, traumatizing our kids over that stuff. Although I saw that one where the Grinch came in, the kids freaked out and started crying, and then the older brother went into fight mode and was trying to fight the Grinch.
That's what I'm talking about.
Which I was like, that's what a big brother does. I thought that was cute, but I'm like, why would y'all traumatize these kids like that? It's like when you sit them on Santa Claus's lap. Like, how many times you seen that where the kids start crying?
Yeah.
Traumatized.
Oh, yeah. No, my little girl was not up for Santa last year. She's like, who is this man? I don't know him, and he looks creepy. And he's probably half drunk. So she was crying the whole time. But then this year, she sees the picture of it. Santa, Santa. And I'm like, oh, now you know him. But he didn't buy you.
It's a weird practice. I'm going to put you on this stranger's lap. It's so you can take a picture. It's just weird. If you really think about it. Here's a stranger who likes children. Here, sit on his lap. Tell him what you want and tell him that you were a good girl. It's creepy.
Then we say don't talk to strangers.
Then we say don't talk to strangers unless they have a Santa hat and outfit on or they're driving an ice cream truck. Then you can talk to those folks.
You know what, parents, we got to do better. And let's be real, we got to do better. That's why on the presents you don't say from Santa, you say from mommy and daddy, damn it. Hey, let's get back to this random thought because, this thing kind of went viral over the holidays. The weather was bad, right? And you have people like me who decided, we're going to brave the weather, get outside and grill. Okay, it's only me. I think I saw one in Cleveland where somebody was grilling from inside the house outside.
Through the window?
Cool. Yes.
Smart.
I'm not mad at that because at least he wasn't stupid enough to bring the grill inside, okay? So, but there's this sports reporter, right? Mark Woodley, KWWL in Iowa. And because there's record lows, you know what we've got to do. Do you really need to see these reporters out in the elements to know how dangerous it is? And he really summed it up in his, I don't want to call it a rant, but you know what? It really was.
How you feeling out there?
Again, the same way I felt about 8 minutes ago when you asked me that same question, right? I normally do sports. Everything is canceled here for the next couple of days. So what better time to ask the sports guy to come in about 5 hours normally earlier than he would normally wake up, go stand out in the wind and the snow and the cold and tell other people not to do the same. I didn't even realize that there was a 3:30 also in the morning until today. It's absolutely fantastic, Ryan. You know, I'm used to these evening shows that are only 30 minutes long, and generally on those shows I'm inside. So this is a really long show. Tune in for the next couple hours to watch me progressively get crankier and crankier.
I didn't think he could even get cranky than that, but he really did.
All right. So, first of all, Mark, stop your whining. A, you're not standing out there in the elements the whole time. After they get done filming, you hop into the van, you sip your hot chocolate with the heater on, you warm up, and you wait till they get ready to call you again. Then you go back out there into the elements like you've been standing there the whole time. Stop it. You could have said no. They asked you to do it.
No,
you could have said no. You could have said no.
No.
I didn't say he could say no. Now he would have to deal with the consequences of saying no. But he could easily have said no. Don't get on TV whining. People have been doing this all the time. But I agree. We do got to stop seeing this because a lot of times it's dramatic and it's fake. Right? Hurricane coverage every year. They're sitting there, oh my God, then you see somebody walking their dog in the background.
Yeah.
Like it's just nothing. But they're just like, oh, these winds. I mean, they try to make it seem like it's a big deal.
You know, so here's the thing about it, right? The reason why he couldn't say no is it's in the contract. And anybody who works in media, whether it's radio, it's TV, I'm sure it was the same in print when they had newspapers. But even right now, in this space, there's a part where it says, here are your duties. And other duties as assigned is the next line that you need to make sure you understand what that means. And because they never specify what those other duties are, because at any given time, they like to add to those duties. It's like when if you go work at a grocery store, other duties as assigned. Yes, you may be a stocker, but if the place is packed, like it is at any Walmart at any given time when there are only 2 registers open and they really need a third one open and you know how to work a register, guess what? Other duties have now kicked in and you got to go do that. If all the grocery carts are outside, other duties kick in and you got to go out there and do it. Same thing here. There are no sports. So what do you think? You're going to get paid to do nothing? And he just kind of said his show before is really 30-minute show. It's nothing. So you're not even working a 40-hour week. Let's be real. Okay?
Right.
So stop this thing. And he couldn't say no because now you have no sports. You got to take part in this. However, it means getting outside, like you said. You know, and I know you said that, you know, they don't need to be out there. Maybe not, but people, it's TV. If it's on I say this, if it was on the radio, I get it. I don't need to hear the wind. We've got sound effects CDs for that. But it's not the radio. This is TV.
Still.
The visual.
He's not out there the whole time. That's
Okay.
just it. That's my point. He's not out there the whole time. For that 30-second, 45-second segment, before that, he's inside, chilling in the van, in the heater, with the heat on, sipping some hot chocolate. And it's like, damn, what's telling me? All right, I got 2 minutes. And then you get back out there and you stand and you deliver.
Yeah.
But freaking, as we say here in Texas, cowboy up and handle that shit.
Stop it, because y'all did not cowboy up when you got a little bit of cold. It dropped below 75 degrees, and y'all didn't know how to act. I mean, even your senator decided, you know, we're going to Cancun.
It's because our power grid was out and people were 3 days without water and electricity. That's a little bit different. Now, I manned up and I was fine. I even recorded the podcast in the dark with no heat. But I also don't have little mouths to feed and children in a family. So I could easily man up or cowboy up, as I say, and deal with that. Other people couldn't. So don't talk about Texas like that.
I'm just saying. I mean, you're giving Mark a hard time. All I'm saying for Mark is...
I'm giving Mark a hard time being a whiner.
But here's what Mark did. Mark, what he did And I know Robin is saying that we're giving Mark a hard time, but here's where I give Mark credit because nobody outside of whatever town that was, and see, I didn't even research to see what town he was in Iowa, right? What city? I'm just gonna say town. It's Iowa. I'm gonna say town. There's 0% chance I'm going to Iowa. Watch me end up there next week. But nobody was thinking of KWWL ever. Everybody was talking about this on social media. Shade Room picked it up. All the vlogs picked it up. Other news stations picked it up because this guy made it entertaining. Because he had that same feel like, why am I out here when you're telling me to tell people not to come out? I'm with him. I don't need to be out here. I could do it from this. Look, we got cameras that show the outside. Show the camera. Show the snow accumulating. Let's do a time lapse of that. We can do all of this. And I can stand inside. I'll come in 3:30 in the morning, which he's not a partier because he doesn't know what 3:30 in the morning looks like. He can still come in and do it from inside the studio safely.
You're right. I apologize. I should go on WholeFoods.com and order him some goat cheese to go with that wine of his and be like, hey, my bad for messing with you, Mark. Here's some cheese. Now, cowboy up and shut up. Shut up and dribble.
Shut up and report.
Yeah, shut up and report.
Hey, shout out to Deja Vu who says, y'all bring a smile to my face like Christmas cookies and milk. Well, thank you. We appreciate you checking in always. Now, in this space of Mark, he decided not to go out there. He, again, called into the job to go do it. This is one thing radio and the media hasn't done, hasn't really stopped doing it as far as the people who are on air. And same thing with TV, right? Still out, still had to get in the studio, still had to get outside and show what's happening. But for everybody else that's now being called back to the office, we haven't done this in a while. We talked about doing it as we get ready for 2023. We got to do some Terrell's tips, man, on getting back into the workplace. Like a lot of employers are asking employees to come back into the office in 2023. What are some tips that you have, Terrell, for reacclimating to dealing with these in the office when you get back in there? Because you ain't had to deal with them for 2 years. Besides the Teams meeting.
A few things you got to do. First, you got to start with yourself. And what I mean by yourself is you have to remember how to iron clothes again. You have to remember how to make stuff match and make stuff look good. You also have to reevaluate your commute because you haven't had to do it in a while. You forgot about traffic. You forgot about those things. So get yourself together and get yourself prepared to go back to work. So number one is yourself. Number two, you're going to have to decompress all that anger you had on those Zoom calls of people you can't stand because you didn't have to have a poker face for the last 2 years. You could just sit there, camera off, giving the screen the finger when somebody starts talking that you can't stand. You got to remember your poker face and you got to be able to sit there and smile and, hey, that's a good point, Chet. Thank you for that. Anyone else have any feedback? Like you got to remember how to handle that. And then Chet? I did say Chet. And then number three, and to me, this is the most important. If you don't want to go back to the office, quit. What you can't do is get on LinkedIn and get on all the social media and talk bad about your employer, about them making you come to the office. If you don't like it, quit. Now, we talked about this when the pandemic started. Right. And I said, right now, it's going to be remote. But at some point, these companies are not going to be able to get out of their leases for those office spaces that they're paying for. So after a while, they're going to say, hey, you need to bring your ass back to the office. Right. And you got to have to do it. If you don't want to do that, that's great. Start looking for another job, find another job, give your notice, accept the other job, and go work remote. But don't get mad at the employer and be like, y'all got to realize, and my kids, and your employer doesn't care about any of that. So deal with it.
Well, it's interesting, especially like you said about that poker face, because you're right. How many Teams calls have you been on where the only people on camera are in management? You It's like, and look, if it's an all managers call and the president and the CEO is not on there, then nobody's on, all right? And I'll tell you one thing about this: whenever we're on with digital, nobody from digital ever has their camera on, right? It's the craziest thing. Like no. So I get that part. You've got to be able to deal with that space. What I love to do on those calls, though, was I used to love to text people in the middle of a call and look for them on the screen and see when they read the text and laugh. And watch them try to hold that poker face on the Teams call. Now, that's going to be fun to try to do in person.
Yep.
Especially if they don't silence their phone.
Yep. Oh, I've done that many times where you're just texting and just waiting for them to see it.
Yes.
And you see the look in their eyes where you're like, trying not to laugh. That is awesome.
Hey, Deja Vu says, have a pre-rehearsed apology for the office, Karen. Yes, indeed.
You're going to need one. And it's going to be funny. Your level of tolerance is going to be a lot smaller going back to the office now, because 2 years ago, you just knew I had to deal with it.
Right.
You've not had to deal with Karen for 2 years. As soon as she says something to you, you're going to be ready to lose it, which is going to be a hot mess.
It's going to be tough to not really be able to, it's going to be tough to not be able to say something. Because think about it, on those Teams calls, right? Somebody says something, you're like, shh. And you text the next person and y'all having a whole conversation back. You're not going to be able to do it in the same room anymore.
Nope.
So,
and appreciate you watching, cousin. Hope you have a great holiday as well. Yeah, that's going to be, what's interesting for me is I started my job remotely. And so now that I'll be going back to an office, there's all these people, I have no idea who they are. I've been on calls with them maybe, but now I get to actually meet and see people. So for me, it's a first. I don't have anybody that ever annoyed me because we were remote when I started.
imagine if you had not shown up, if you were one of those people who kept your camera off all the time and you walk in the office now.
Well, because I think they'd be surprised I was black. I think that would be. I think that's.
There's a black
you
guy
don't
walking
sound.
into the office.
Terrell, wow, you don't sound. How do I say this? I'm like, well, that's my work voice. Sorry.
Catch me after 5.
Yeah. Catch me.
When their Ebonics kicks in. As long as you don't start talking like you're from the 70s. Come on, you jive turkey.
Yeah, you jive turkeys on this conference call. Yeah, no.
Turn into RG3. Jigaboo. Throwback to last week's episode. On a more serious note, man, because there's some of the things that happened over the holidays was, of course, the weather, but of course the political shenanigans popped up again. What happened here with the VP?
So apparently there were 3 busloads of migrants that were sent there from Texas. So these migrants came into Texas, were put on buses, and driven to D.C. to the VP's house.
Oh, boy.
Some of them had no coats, just T-shirts or whatever. And that was the issue. And I'm looking at this. I'm just like, don't know who from Texas sent them up there. So I can't say it's Greg Abbott. Could be. But
no, we're going to go. You don't say, because you live in the state. I'm going to say, I'm pretty sure. I am 99.99999% sure it was Governor Abbott.
Well, could be. All I'm saying is it's sad that we're using people's lives as political pawns.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's like, we don't do it to Americans. We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't put them on a bus into a cold climate with no jackets and be like, figure it out. Oh, hey, welcome to the U.S. Get here. Now we're going to drive you all the way up to D.C. I just think it's sad that people are doing this. And I get it. We got to be able to control the borders. But to all of our GOP folks, I'm like, hey, well, what's your plan then? What's another solution to protect the borders? You had Trump try to put up the wall. That never happened. So what's your solution other than what we're doing right now? I'm all ears.
So the thing about it is this, right? And, I am definitely not advocating for what they did. I don't appreciate it. I think it was tasteless. It's again, like you said, playing with people's lives, right? But at the same time, what they did this before, and I thought they made their point then. And they send them to Martha's Vineyard, and they send them a couple different places, and but to do it in this snowstorm is crazy to do, right? And this weather that's been happening nationally, except everywhere except California and Texas, apparently. I mean, I saw the game yesterday, and it was like 82 degrees in LA. I'm like, what happened? Because everywhere else it was like 2 degrees, right?
Yeah.
But you play this game in this kind of weather. But you know why they do that? Because they go, okay, if you say, let them in, we need to open up the borders and let everybody in, then you take them. Are you going to invite them in for some milk and cookies? And apparently not. But it's this political play that goes on. It doesn't make it right, but I understand why they keep doing it.
It doesn't make it right at all. And I understand why they're doing it, but again, you're playing with people's lives. Imagine if somebody got hurt, someone died in that cold weather, then what?
Then they'll blame the Democrats because you should have let them in.
You should have had a faster response to us dropping off all these immigrants.
Yes.
You should have responded faster.
You should have stayed in town. What do you mean you were out of town with family for Christmas?
Ted Cruz, what are you doing out there in Cancun?
Something else that popped up, and this is just like a report. You get to the end of the year, you see all these things are happening, and one of the things that happened came out of South Carolina. This Move Right law, also known as the Slowpoke law, that basically says if you're in the left lane and you're holding up traffic, you're gonna get a ticket, right? So, and South Carolina has this thing, and they put it in effect since August of 2021, and record number of tickets, and apparently a lot of money made off of it. But is it a good thing that here it is? If you're traveling too slow in that far left lane, you're gonna get a ticket.
Yes,
up to $500, and
it's a great thing.
You didn't even let me get my question. Why is it such a great thing?
Get your slow self out the way. If you want to do this, so this is how I drive, right? The speed limit to me, it's a suggestion. If it says 70, I'm like, okay, I can probably do 75, 78, and I'm going to go a little bit faster. But there's nothing more annoying than somebody being that far left lane, cruise control, doing 70. Get out the way.
Yeah.
Drive like you got somewhere you want to be. If you want to enjoy the drive and just, wow, this is nice. Look at all this highway. Stay in the middle of the far right lane.
Yeah.
Don't get in the left lane. And so I think it's great because there are some people who got things to do and we've got places to be. Get out the way and move over. You deserve a ticket if you're going to hold up traffic trying to have a nice Sunday afternoon cruise, blocking up everybody behind us because you don't like to go over the speed limit. Nope.
Okay.
Get out the way.
If I'm doing the speed limit in the far left lane, I'm doing the speed limit. You're breaking the law coming at your 75 to 78 miles an hour because the speed limit is 70. It's not suggested. That's actually maximum speed is what it is. Obviously, you'd fail your driver's test if you had to take it over again, but that's the maximum speed you're supposed to go. And
Recommended.
Whatever. We recommend the cops give you a ticket when you go over that speed. How about that? But the thing about this law is that even if somebody's speeding, you're supposed to move out of the way. The problem I have with this is that there are people who barrel down on you. Like, they're coming so fast you don't even see them. Like, they act like they're on the Autobahn. You want to drive like that, go to Germany and do it over there because that's what that's built for, okay? But there are rules and regulations in place here for a reason. And, yes, if you're going 10 miles under the speed limit in the far left lane, you know what? Take your license at the same time. Let's do that. Grandma, stay in the far right lane.
I go over the speed limit. I
Yes, we know.
speed. And
You're
you've
right.
driven with me.
Yes.
And I like to go. So
And I've
for
still
me,
got my fingernails.
if
in
I
your-
get a
in your door.
ticket, if I get a ticket, that's the risk that I take if I get a ticket. But not doing it. And so I'm glad those people need to get out the way. And for BL, we are live. I don't need to hold up a newspaper. It's live.
Yeah. So as we look at this one, though, this one was actually a pretty interesting one for the love of sports, right? Last week, there was this woman. This tweet came out and said, "Someone find me this man. I owe him a beer." Entire game, this lady was chirping at him for cheering for the Patriots in her stadium, right? So they're at the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium, and Alliance Stadium in Las Vegas. It was Raiders versus Patriots, And this brother is standing there, stone face, just ignoring this Karen that's all up in his face. Crazy ending to that game, and she is talking shit in his face the entire time. And he held his composure way better than anybody in the comments because everybody's like, I'd have been in jail. So all this goes through the guy. People are like looking for this guy. He comes up and goes, hey, I'm Jerry Edmond. I'm the guy in the video. That was my first NFL game. That made it 10 times. It was already bad, but that made it 10 times worse. His first NFL game. Now, I get it. You're in Vegas. You go in a Patriots jersey, in a Tom Brady jersey. You go to the game. You're going to get a little trash talking about the way this woman was in his face. That one speckle of spit that came out, because you know it did. You know there were probably about 1,400 pieces that came out with the way she was yelling in his face. He did great to handle himself and hold his composure. Well, of course, the Patriots found out about it. They came back. And guess what they did? Invited him to the next game. He gets to meet with Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, who then goes, you know what? Because they gave him a gift, and they're like, how'd you like to sit in the suite with me? He's like, you know what? I can do that. I like how cool he was. He was like, I can do that.
If this is all you got, I mean, that's fine. This is the only thing that's open, I guess. I'll sit here in the suite.
I was hoping for 1% of the team, but I'll take sitting in the suite with you. And I like how he didn't do what they probably expected him to do, which was standing up in the booth the whole time in the chair, like
act like you've been there before.
He did.
Yes.
You saw him on the phone like tweeting like, yo, I'm in the box with Robert Kraft. But I like that the Patriots did this. I like to see this where you get and the fact that other people have kind of just chimed in this space because fan is short for fanatic, and we know that when it comes to this crazy game of football, people lose their shit.
Well, and I commend him for not, especially the way that game ended, because it was insane.
Yes.
But I commend him for holding his composure. Now, my question is, what was he like in the first, second, and third quarter?
See,
Because if
Mister,
he
I
was
wanna see the
talking
whole
trash,
video.
well, hold on. If he was talking mad trash and they finally win, and now she's like, yeah, that's right, because I can't understand. I get you're a Raiders fan, and most Raiders fans are psycho and they carry shanks. I get it. But
Those are Cowboy fans.
what got her that hype to be all in his face like that? And then the dude that was with her, you would have thought he'd have been like, hey, babe, let's dial that back because you never know. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so to me, it looks like, okay, she's yelled at dudes like that before. And I don't know. I think if I went into another fan's stadium wearing my Saints gear, I don't talk trash because I'm in their house. I'm not going to talk trash. I don't have enough backup. So I lose this fight. And a lot of people hate the Patriots, but for him to just stand there and just get berated like that.
Yeah.
And just take it. Didn't even flinch. He was just.
Yeah.
I was like, good for you, man.
It was good for him. He showed a lot of restraint. I think in that moment, he was probably like, it's a white woman in my face. If I just even say something to her, it's going to be some problems. I'm representing the entire race right now. Let me show that we're all not.
He had to think the whole thing through. If I were to fuck around and find out, how would this play out? What's the worst that could happen? Let me just walk back and just see all the different scenarios. It's like, you know what? Just shut the hell up. Take it. Be quiet.
Hey, that man practices yoga, meditation. He does something. He was probably counting to 1,000 backwards.
Yeah.
Tune her out.
Jesus, please let her touch me. Let her touch me.
No, because he couldn't do anything. It didn't matter. If she did touch him, it wouldn't matter. She could have slapped him and people still. We've seen this happen before in the stands. We've seen where the woman has attacked somebody and then all of a sudden her man's be like, crap, now I got to go fight too. And he gets his ass knocked out because we've seen this before. The woman who we talked about this when she was talking trash to LeBron and her husband's like, do you see that man? And do you see me? I can't fight him.
Well, still, kudos for him for holding it together.
Yes.
And being able to take that because not many people could pull that off.
And kudos to the Patriots for stepping up, Robert Kraft, for that. I mean, we'll disagree with Robert Kraft and his politics and the presidents that he likes to vote for, but we'll at least say kudos to him for looking out for one of his fans that was in enemy territory, representing hard and standing up in a great way. So the Patriot way, I think is what they'd like to say.
I think Robert Kraft should also gotten one of them Robert Kraft special massages. I think he earned that. He earned that.
He probably just like that. Just like he was in the stands. That was good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, before we get out of here, this bullshit. This one came up, and man, now I know travel was crazy over the holidays, right? I experienced it because I was traveling this holiday season. A family was traveling, and delays. I mean, even when we got to the gate and had to sit there for 30, 45 minutes after, bouncing down in a roller coaster ride all the way down because of all the wind, and sitting waiting for the gate crew to come and take us to the gate because they were short of people, right? But this woman, she's traveling from, it was from Birmingham up to New York, right? They're in Miami at the time, in the airport, and then she winds up assaulting an American Airlines employee because she can't find her kids. Now, it doesn't say what happened before this, right? But she loses her stuff, can't find the kids, and is just going off on the employees. Y'all better find my kids. Y'all better find my kids. Gets behind the counter, computer, keyboards flying everywhere. Even the ticket reader knocks that off, picks up the monitor. It was a monitor keyboard and throws it at the employee and hits the employee in the head. Of course, she was arrested. But, I mean, this woman losing it because she thought they lost a kid. And where were the kids? In the bathroom. They just didn't tell her.
So I hope they throw the book at her ignorant ass. Probably shouldn't have had children, but also shouldn't be traveling anymore on airplanes because that is ridiculous.
Oh, she won't.
If you lose your kids, why wouldn't you have gone to the TSA and to the police? Why is the gate agent now responsible for my children? My children are lost. The gate agent can't stop and put an Amber Alert out from their little computer about your little badass kids that walked off and didn't tell you they were going to the bathroom. So to me, that's all on her, and she gets all the smoke that she's going to get. I'm sorry. Everybody shouldn't have children. Everybody's not smart enough to have children. This lady is out of here, and she shouldn't be able to fly anymore. You ruined it. You can't fly anymore. You're going to have to do road trips with your badass kids in the backseat and drive 10, 12 hours everywhere you want to go, but you don't get on planes anymore because you don't know how to act.
Let's be honest.
That frustrated me to watch that video and watch her.
You saw the video.
On the TSA person. I mean, on the flight, on the American Airlines agent. You're not even talking to the police. If your kids are missing, you go to the police.
No.
You go to the TSA officers.
Here's what happened. I mean, we just talked about the fact there was a worker shortage. Maybe she thought they took her kids and put them to work.
What are they going to have their kids doing? Did she expect to throw the tantrum and the agent's going to be like, fine, bring them on out of here from that McDonald's. Bring them back over here. Here, you happy now, ma'am? No. No, it was just annoying.
We needed an extra flight attendant. Your kids seemed like they could do it.
Yeah. You can see a little 8-year-old. There's 2 exits, 2 in the front, 2 in the side, and 2 in the
over your face.
Yeah,
just yours on first before the person next to you.
But that whole tantrum she did was so uncalled for, and that gate agent did not deserve that whatsoever. And you're doing all that flipping out. Go look for your kids. But why'd you think they took them? Y'all better bring me my kids. Like they're hiding them somewhere in the back. It's ridiculous.
You saw the video. You know why them kids left and didn't tell her that. They're like, we just needed some time away from her.
We just need a break.
Dear Santa, all we want is to get away from this crazy ass woman.
Goodness, she is insane. And I really hope they ban her from flying.
Oh, they will.
Yeah, I hope they ban her from flying. And then she can't go on social media complaining about, no, that was you.
Yeah.
You acted an ass. I wish I had a family member that would do something crazy like that goes viral. I'd be quick to call them, hey, cuz, haven't talked to you in a long time. WTF, were you thinking?
I will say, there were some people who were like, well, she went into panic mode and, mental health is real.
Stop it.
What?
Stop
No,
it.
I'm just telling you what's in the comments, man. I didn't say these things. But people are saying, like, she spazzed out because the kids are missing. And you never know, because in this day and age when people are human trafficking, which is a real thing.
Right. It is. And the people that stop human trafficking are the American Airlines gate agents. That's their job. They are the ones saving all the children from being trafficked. You go to them when you have problems.
Hey, it's the power of the airline employee, man.
I just don't get it. She deserves all the smoke that she's gonna get. Mm-hmm. I don't feel bad for her. I feel bad for those kids.
Yes.
But don't feel bad for her at all.
And do you feel bad for the man? Never mind. All right, we're gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone and keep it moving. Run, brother, run.
Hey, that's why I remember in my 20s, I was like, my biggest fear was getting someone pregnant that I didn't want to be with forever or deal with for 18 years. That was my biggest fear. And so you go out to the club and you're just like, well, I'm just going to hook up. Next thing you know, 18 years, you stuck with that crazy person. That's what you got. That's what you got to deal with.
Especially if the condom turned into a Burger King crown. Son of a sitting there for 4 weeks like this.
Yeah. You just, oh, come on, baby.
Dear Lord.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to get right. If you just get this one, I'm going to get
I
right.
can't deal with her. You know it. You know it.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man, let's get out of here, man. Because, like Trisha said, I got to think it, don't say it.
But we all know what he was thinking.
Hey, don't forget, man, next week, Married at First Sight returns. So this week they've got the matchmaking special, right? This Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Well, we're also going to do a special matchmaking recap. That's going to drop next Tuesday, January 3rd. We're going to drop the matchmaking special. This one we're actually going to do in person. So no episode 116 next Monday, because we're going to have the matchmaking recap on Tuesday. Then, of course, this is why we've been practicing this month of December, these lives, because come January, we're going bourbonless live after the Married at First Sight episodes.
Totally fine. I'm ready for it. And be sure to tune in on Tuesday. It won't be live, but we should have a special guest with us on the show. But I'm excited to come down to Atlanta and do this in person.
Geography is obviously not your strong suit. I'll be up.
Okay. I'm happy to go to Atlanta and do this in person. I'm not happy about Atlanta because I'm not a big Atlanta fan, especially all those Falcons that are out there. And as a Saints fan, don't really care for Atlanta. But
neither one of y'all going to the playoffs is okay.
Huh?
I said neither one of y'all going to the playoffs is okay.
No, we sure aren't. We sure aren't going to. They didn't even ask us to help pass out sodas and popcorn at the playoffs. They don't want us to have any part of it. I don't blame them.
It's bad. But look, we're excited to get the season 16 Nashville journey underway. So look out for that. Like I said, matchmaking recap next Tuesday. Then, of course, episode 1 on Wednesday. We'll be live here in the chat, live streaming. About 15 minutes after the episode's over, we'll be on and ready to go without coffee and without bourbon. Purposely. Hey, I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.